Hello and welcome back to Prima Calcio. Today we're going to be doing a deep dive into Milan with some of the player ratings mid-season like we did with Juve a little while ago. I am Michael here with Anthony. How you doing today?
Hey. Oh, I'm good because I'm not going to have to bitch about my team. I get to hear you bitch about your team.
Go. There you
Yes.
go. All right, so we'll
Mhm.
do just a little breakdown, kind of discuss season transfers, where they may go from here, what I think that they should do and what I think they will do. All right. You kind of give your ratings as well. Do you want to start with your ratings? Want me to go first? How do you want to do that?
Yeah, you start. You start.
You
Because
got
I
it.
can't see what player you're talking about. So
Okay,
unless I'm going to pull
so
it up on.
Mike Maignan gonna be
Oh,
first.
okay.
Typically a good keeper. This season he has not been very good. He's let in a lot of goals that he usually doesn't. So I actually say he's been performing below average. I would give Magnan a 5. I think he's been underwhelming, especially for
Yeah,
his quality. I think he's been below average.
definitely letting some stinkers. When a team's struggling, need to be super, super reliable. And he just hasn't been this year.
Yep.
I think I think it's a symptom of what's going on around him, but there's no excuses. Leaders lead.
Yeah, it definitely. I mean, the whole team, besides a couple people, are playing poorly. But then again, as you said, leaders lead, and there's a couple people we'll get to later who are stepping up. Um,
Mhm.
Lorenzo Toriani, youth player. When called upon, he's been very good. Talented kid. The management, from what we think, holds him in pretty high regard, and I think that they should. You can't really give him a ton of ratings, so I'm just going to give him a stock right in the middle, a nice 6.
Sure.
There you
I
go.
haven't seen it. I haven't seen much of this guy, so I don't
Okay.
know what to say.
He's talented. He's good.
I
I think he's a very good prospect. I think he's got
I think he
some really
played a
good
little
skills.
bit for the U19s.
Not
Did he
exactly
play a
sure.
couple U20s?
I've just seen a few games that he's played for Milan.
Okay.
But he does look pretty assured, looks pretty mature for his age. Um,
We got a lot of good goalies in. We have a lot of good
yeah,
goalies in Italy, so we're
goalies and
definitely.
coaches are definitely always something you got
Yep.
in. Hey, Davide Calabria. Putting aside
Ooh.
the mix up with Conceição,
Yeah. Who knows what
when
happened with it?
they did come on, it was what I was thinking yesterday. It was, well, like, don't go out a day or so before match. And there was a couple players that went with him, so he didn't like that. So that's
Yeah.
fine. I'm sure it will kind of blow over. But Labria is a strange one because he's had some games where he has been quite underwhelming, and then he's had some games where he's been one of the best performers. Um, it's hard because you got a stinker like Emerson Royale out there too. He probably deserves, I would say, like a 5.5. He's also been
Yeah.
underwhelming, but on certain games he's like a 6.57. Other games he's like a 4. So maybe the fair rating is a 5.5. I don't think he quite deserves a 6 this season.
I'm gonna give him a 5 because I think he talk about leaders lead. He hasn't as one of the longest standing Italians in the team. I feel like he should be doing a better job. Instead, he's getting in arguments with the coach, and
He's
that
not
does
a
factor in
captain.
for me. He's also been benched by like two coaches to start. I mean,
He's just
I
not a
don't know.
captain. He's not.
Wasn't he though
Not.
under Pioli?
No, I mean he is the captain, but he's not a captain. He should never be a
Yeah.
captain. He doesn't have the personality. He just is like a little like a whinier type of person. I
Mhm.
really don't think he's got captain mentality in him. So, yeah, I don't know why he gets it just because he's been here for a long time, but I don't think he should be captain. I would much rather be giving
Yeah.
it to Pulisic or to Gabia. Those would be my two shots for captain.
Yeah. I agree.
Okay, next Emerson Royale,
Oh,
the non-football player who is somehow signed and makes many millions a year.
amazing.
He gets a 2.5.
Oh, yeah, I guess give him a 2. I don't do half. I think he's straight up
I
2. I mean, he's been pretty. I mean, if Coop Miner's gets a 1. I'm going to say Emerson Royale should probably also get a 1. Actually, they've been equally as useless.
he's had a couple games where he didn't make a massive
He
mistake,
actually, you're
so
right.
he
He
gets a little
actually,
bit better,
yeah. All
because
right,
of
I'll give him a
that.
2.
Yeah, I'm gonna edge towards I'm being nice today. I'm gonna edge towards a
Yeah.
2.5. No, I
Oh
can't.
wow.
I can't stand this. All right,
No, he's a
next.
2. He's terrible.
Jimenez. I think he's actually been a bright spot. He's been played out of position almost every time because nobody wants to play him as a wing back. Nobody even wants to play him as a right back, which is very strange. Um, he'd be a great addition, and if he played formation that I'll get to later on, he'd be even better. But I think he's been a nice bright spot. I think he gets about a 6.5. He's had some games where he's been better, games he's been average, but he always is trying hard. He's got a lot of grit. It's talented. Now I think Milan has to work out something to actually buy him, and forget the Real Madrid buyback clauses they have on him because it's something cheap like they can buy him this offseason for like 8 or 10 or something like that, and then next offseason they can buy him back for like 12. It's really cheap, so
Yeah.
um, it's
I don't
weird.
mind them playing him as a young player. I don't mind them playing him not as a fullback. It's a lot safer. It takes a lot of pressure off him. When he doesn't have any really defensive responsibility on him, he's able to play a little bit more
Oh,
free. So
it's true. It's true.
it's
He's
a kind of toe in the water here. Use your abilities, play hard. If you want help in defense, of course,
yeah.
but that's not like your primary responsibility. You don't have to pick up the back post guy every time, and blah blah blah. We'll let Emerson Royale blow that one.
It's just the issue is that right there. Like if when you have Emerson Real and an underperforming Calabria, like why not just put him there and see if he can be the guy? What do you have to lose at that point? But
Oh, you're right, but I think both of us, and I'm sure we'll get to it. I think that I formations are overrated, but I think in this case a formation change is super needed.
I think it fits the whole team.
And yeah,
Next, we go with Teo Hernandez. He's been a very unique figure this year. Hated in a lot of games, loved in others when he sparks a comeback. He's still one of like the top three most talented players on the whole team. It's just when is he going to show up? He's very similar to Leao, right? When he wants to be, he's one of like the top few left backs or left wing backs on the planet. When he
yeah,
doesn't want to be, he's bad, especially in defense. But a lot of our points have come off the back of him sparking something, even if he has a bad game. It's weird. I think he's underperformed this season, so I would actually want to give him quite a low rating. But because he still does come with those big moments, I think I'm just going to go a little bit less than average and go with the 5.5.
yeah. I'm gonna give him just a straight up 5 for the exact reason and this is kind of it goes to show who are the true leaders on this team. I mean, the team is very much in the image of, to me, Teo and Leao. Like
Yeah,
when they want to play, it's if you're one of the best teams, it's hard to beat. When they don't, you can't beat a small side. And that's pretty much those two guys in a nutshell. They just don't really have the give a shit on a week to week basis, and
it's not
the
even like
team
a
lives
week to
their
week
guys
basis.
by it.
It's like they might not. They might care for like 5 minutes of a match. Oh,
True.
let's
Yeah.
turn it on today. Okay, all right, and
Yeah,
all of a
they
sudden
fade in and
they
out of a
play.
match.
Yeah. Next
Yeah.
is yeah. I don't know. I think as
I
far
don't
as
think he's a
Hernandez
captain either,
goes,
and I just I don't know. I don't know.
no, I don't like him as a captain at all. I honestly, there's only two people that I like as captain on this team. I don't even think Magnan's a captain, and he's
Yeah.
been getting the armband recently. I don't. This really should be two people. I hope it happens because it really does put the image in, and that's what the image should be.
Yeah.
Hernandez is kind of whiny. He's finicky.
Oh, he's a total
You
bitch, man.
know, he's like I call him more sassy, which is not a compliment.
Yes, he's yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? That's not a
It's
compliment for
it's for a
a
man.
grown man. Yeah,
No,
so
oh,
that's
man.
not the image I want.
No, no.
But you can't deny the dude's quality. But yeah, he
Oh
gets a
yeah, no.
5.5 on the season for me.
Definitely, definitely class when he wants to.
Gariciano, he came on when he very first was signed, and he made a mistake that led to a goal. And since then, because it was his first game, he has just been just lambasted. Um,
Yeah,
and now
that's how it works with Italian
every
players. Yeah.
game this season, he's been totally fine. He's played
Yeah.
everywhere. Flyback, back, winger, midfield. He's been fine every single time. I can't fault him. He's 21, super versatile. Um, he gets a 6. He's an underrated player, and I think if he goes somewhere else, he'd probably do quite well. I don't think he's amazing, but he's 21. He's got really
I
good size, really good strength. He's pretty strong guy. So I mean, I don't know. I haven't seen him play poorly yet this season, so he gets a 6 on the season.
I absolutely agree with you. I think he's going to always be a solid player, and his versatility is really giving them extra value. It's a shame that we have such shitty fans in
Yeah,
Italian soccer.
a
It really,
20-year-old kid comes on and makes
yeah.
makes one mistake.
Yeah.
He's terrible. Okay, all
Oh,
right,
it's just in general.
that's it.
I mean, Cambiaso hasn't been playing well after his injury. He's been getting shit on, so it's like just whatever. Just sell these guys off to teams that actually care.
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
strange, and I'll say some people you would assume that oh you just get special favors because you're one of the Italians on the team. It's weirdly enough the
Opposite.
opposite.
Yeah.
Whereas like if you're the Italian, they immediately assume you're only on the team because you're Italian, and so you You basically make one mistake and you're just exiled, fan base
Yeah.
wise. It's really
Yeah,
weird.
they hate you. Yeah.
So, and now he's had to kind of
Get
crawl
injured.
out of that hole, and he has crawled out of that hole decently. So,
Yeah, he's
six
done
for
fine.
Terracciano.
Mhm.
Malichao, he's had a much better season. He was pretty rough last season. He's been much more calm, composed, and controlled. I actually think he's been doing pretty decent. He started off not so well, but I know he's got injured now. But the past several games, he's actually been pretty solid. Him next to Gabi has been pretty stable. I would give him a 6 on the season. He started off maybe like a 5 and rounded out with more like sevens. So I'm gonna give him right in the middle, 6.
Yeah, that's at 6 as well. He's been solid.
Yep.
He hasn't been great. I mean, maybe even a 5 because overall he's been average. That's to me the most average number you can be is 5.
5, like
He
with
hasn't
how
been.
these things work, is like 5 is, and you know how these work, right? 5 is like below average.
It's like, yeah, 5.5
Yeah.
is what, middle, right in dead middle.
5.5 is like you're slightly underperforming. 6 is like you're solid. I don't know why that is how it is, but 6 is like the
No,
stock
no, no, no.
rating.
We're not. I don't give a shit about their stupid ratings. We
That's
we
what
give
I'm going
people
off of
ones,
though.
dude.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that's
we give
fine.
people
No,
ones.
I
Yeah,
still use like the baseline middle, and then but I give higher and lower
it's.
ratings for sure.
Oh. Well, this is a whole philosophical discussion. I think it should start at 5. It's average. Average is 5. 6 is above
I
average.
do agree with that, but this is how people know the ratings.
I don't give a crap. We need to re-educate these people. This is not how the number 1 through 10 works.
Well, the ratings are
Zero,
already done like
you can
this. You
get
just got to
you
deal
can
with
get a
it.
0. You can get a 0.
You just got to deal with it.
You can be so bad.
You
I mean,
can get a
some
0.
people should get some people should get a negative that they hurt their team.
Yeah, you can get it. Yeah, you should.
Like Douglas Luiz when he came on, was at the Red Bull game. He came on and got fucking what penalty and a red card.
That's strong. It's a
I
strong
forget how that all
performance.
worked. Yeah, man, that's like a -4. Truly.
Yeah. I mean, I don't necessarily
So,
disagree, but it's already going, and we did Juves this way
all
too.
right, we did okay.
Next is Tomori. Past few games has been more solid. He had one bad play against Juve, but he's been a little better. He just hasn't been good this season. He gets to me about a 4.5. His last few games hasn't been as bad, but he gets a 4.5.
He to me gets a 4 because he's the only player that Coop Miners has juked this season.
Hey,
Coop Miners dribbled
hey.
him in the box. He dribbled all over his face. And that was pretty bad. That was a bad game for him, anyways. But
Yeah,
you know,
it's he's
I
I
give him a
mean
4.
I actually like Tamori. I think that what should happen, and we'll get into that later, but if you're gonna play with the 2 man, I actually think that Gabia Tamori is your best pairing. They complement each other well, and Tamori is one of the players back, at least the past several years. He actually does have some grinta. He cares, but he's just been more sloppy. So we'll see if he can get back to his best. He has not so far this season, so he gets a very low rating of 4.5. All right, we move to one of the positives for the season and for the past 2 seasons. Matteo Gabbia, youth team player, finally got a chance at Milan due to some injuries last season, and he took it and ran with it. In my opinion, he's Milan's best center back and has been for quite a while. He's still underrated and is still overlooked. That's just kind of how he's destined to be. But I think he's been quite excellent this season. Very few mistakes. I can probably count like one or two that are maybe partially on over the whole season. I think he's actually done quite well. He's about a 7 to a 7.5.
Yeah, I think he's been a 7. I think he's the when he's not on the field, it's felt pretty bad. And when he is, it's a much better, more organized defense. I think it's a night and day difference when he's playing and when he's not.
Yeah, he's composed. He's smart. He's good at reading the game, and he's very good with his feet and delivers pretty accurate passing. So that's exactly what you want
Eh,
back there with some of your more
He's good at getting
aggressive
the ball out of the
defenders.
box too. He's good at reading the ball in the air too. He's no slouch.
He also has a lot of character. The guy always wants it. Even if he comes on for like 10 minutes at the end of the game, he's always one of the ones just kind of bouncing around in the box, trying to get his head on it. And that's exactly what I want to see. Like somebody who actually cares. He's basically what like he has the level of like commitment and caring that you want Calabria to have, which is why I think that Gabia should be one of the 2 shots for captain.
Well, and he's always a calming presence in the defense. When he's on, the defense plays a lot better. So it,
Mm-hmm.
it makes sense.
Yep. Pavlovic. Past few games, I thought he's actually been quite good.
Hey,
He's got a lot of green tech. He's not a very bright player, but I think once again we'll get this later. If he's used right, I think he could be quite good. But he's pretty gumpy. His just the way he turns his hips is pretty slow and sluggish. So against very skilled attackers, he's gonna struggle. Like the guys who can just kind of like turn him inside out is gonna really struggle. So I don't like him in the center of defense. It's too error prone. Early season terrible. Last few games quite good, but still it doesn't. The last 2 games doesn't erase the early performance. He
Who were the
gets
last 2 games against?
I don't know, was it Parma and then I can't remember the
Parma.
last one,
Who you
but
play in the Champions League, right?
Girona.
Yeah, okay. So
Yeah, no,
it's
he was
fucking
good.
shitty teams.
Yeah, no, they're not great teams, but he was better. I think Pavlovic on the whole season, he maybe gets similar to Tamori. Maybe
Yeah,
he's
I give him.
been
I give him a 4. Yeah, I
yeah
give Tomori a 4. I'm giving him a 4. Yeah,
yeah. I kind of got to go 4.5. I'll go the same. I'm gonna go with you here.
yeah, 4.
I like it. I
It's
think
been
they've
below
actually
average.
been quite bad, quite below average actually. All right, Ismail Benacer. Last couple games he's been a lot better. He's not back to his full fitness yet. You just know it. But when he is on, he probably is the best midfielder, complete midfielder that we have. He can actually play defensive mid, get out of a lot of situations, but he just hasn't played that many games yet. I'll probably give
It
him like
takes a
about a,
long time to come back from the amount of injuries he's had in the past, what, 2 years now?
especially in that like tempo setting position where like you're
Yeah,
asking for the
just
ball all the time. You're a linchpin of that
let the
midfield.
guy play and get back into the swing of things. I mean, like we just saw, like everyone's like amazed at how well Spinazzola's playing. I'm like, the guy's an awesome player. He's been injured for how long now? And then he gets to play one game, and of course, it's fucking one time out after he hasn't played. How old is Benacer? 27, 28 years old
I think
now?
he's like 27.
Yeah,
I
I
think
mean, dude,
so.
it takes you gotta get back into the swing of
Maybe
things, man.
20. He's
You
27.
just yeah, you gotta get back into things. Get people well, coming off injuries. You gotta give people a little bit of time.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be an immediate like, oh, he's back. It's all better now. But he's been looking progressively better each time out. And if he can get back to at least somewhere close to where he was, he'll be fine.
Yeah, there's not a ton of games to really rate him yet. And I mean, early on, he was pretty sloppy. So he probably got like
Yeah.
a 4.5 to 5. Lately, he's in more like a 6.5. So I'm going to go, probably about a 5.5 for him right now.
Yeah, that's yeah. I
He
agree.
could be sneaking in on a 6, but he's a 5.5. The
It's hard to
6
mark
would
him
just be
down.
because I like him.
Well, it's hard to mark him down for
Yeah,
coming
being
off of an
injured.
injury and not being instantly back to what he used to be when he didn't have injuries and was 2 years younger. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
guess I guess it's almost more fair if I see what I've given you, like Carciano and Chow and stuff like that. He probably does get a 6 because he's kind of smack dab in this.
yeah.
It's fine. Fofana, he's a bit of a tough
Ooh,
one because I actually think he's a good player. He's played a ton of minutes, so you can see he's been getting more fatigued. But um,
yeah.
he's just not a true D mid, and you can tell his defensive acumen, in my opinion, is very lacking. He is
Oh
a
yeah.
solid player. And I feel like if you just had a real D mid next to him and Reinders, your midfield jumps up a massive step. I think if Milan gets a true D mid, Fofana's going to be a much better player because he doesn't have to hold down that middle D mid role. Because right now, the midfield, in my opinion, is like Swiss cheese. They're good players, but you're running a 2-man mid with no real D mid. Both of them are not D mids. Reinders isn't a D mid. Fofana's not a D mid. Musa can play it, but he's not been run as a D mid. Like, you don't really have people in that role. So it's been not so great. Himself in general, he's had some very positive performances. I don't know. I think he gets right smack dab in the middle. He gets like a 6. You could teeter him on like a 6.5 for some of the performances, but I'm gonna go 6. I think that his defensive failings, in my opinion, for me, I'm marking him down a little bit. People who don't care about that as much might rate him like even as high as a 7 because a lot of people thought he's done well this season. I think he's done good.
Well, once again, this is an example of someone who's not really in the right position. But he's not. He's playing well in spite of it. So I mean, he does not have the characteristics to be playing in a two-man midfield with another guy that doesn't really have any. I mean, Reinders will make some defensive plays, but he's not
He's not D
that.
mid.
Yeah, he's not. So like, neither of those guys can do that job, and that's your midfield. So I
Yeah,
can't
I
really
mean, how
blame
much am
them.
I faulting him for playing out of position? It's hard to
Yeah, that's
say.
not his skill set. It's not, and that shame on them for assembling it that way. I think Conceição has recognized that. That's why he's asking Benacer to come in.
Yeah.
But they need someone to play behind them in a three-man midfield that can actually clean things up. Because I don't think they can coexist, and I think that's actually been one of Milan's biggest issues. And if you do look at the Juve game, which I know was one of their worst, but it's like they lost that midfield battle, and even in the first match against them in The Supercopa. I mean, the first half, it's like that was a midfield.
Oh yeah.
You know,
No, the midfield
so
always gets overrun at Milan, and I mean like it's.
yeah.
But then again, he's had some big plays. He's actually pretty good at distribution. When he wants to,
Yes,
he wins the ball back because he's strong, but he doesn't always put in effort, which I don't love. If I
he can
look at,
win.
but
It's a lot easier to win the ball back when you're tracking back and tackling somebody as like an extra person. It's a lot more difficult when you have people running at you, and it's also more difficult when you have a harsh tactical responsibility to uh, screen the defense.
yeah, if
So
you're right in the center, it's a lot more
yeah,
pressing because you realize that you are like the kind of you're the player who needs to dictate where the play goes and kind of shield it away
yeah,
from your defense and kind of guide them. And he doesn't do that at all. He's not good
yeah.
at like shuffling the play somewhere else and kind of instead of moving it aside and kind of like blocking off a certain angle. He's not good at that at all.
They need a guy behind him and Reinders to either be like a Ricci type, which I think is. I mean, I like Ricci a lot, but I really think they need just a cleanup guy.
They do. I honestly, I
Yeah.
mean, like even though he'd never come, the ideal player would be like a Rovella guy. He can
Oh yeah,
actually
yeah.
he can actually set the tempo. He can play actual D mid and be positionally sound. Then a guy like Fofana would shine.
That'd be an absolutely perfect signing.
Looking at my other ratings, I think I got to go a little bit higher because I think he's been better than like Tirchano and Chow. So I think I'm gonna go 6.5 for him. I think he's
For
been more
Fofana?
positive. Yeah, I think he's been more positive
Yeah,
than Briani, Tirchano, and
yeah.
Chow. You
I'm
know?
giving him a 6. He's been the reason for a lot of your goals conceded to, a lot of your giveaways have been on, or he's been responsible for. And
Mm.
especially, God, what was the one team? It was like a later goal too, and it was a poor team. And he just gave the ball away. He didn't track back and like make up for his mistake, and he had time to do it.
Oh, he does
Oh,
that a
that
couple of times. You know what though? You know what?
yeah,
You're not wrong because something that I always bitched to you about is like he's always like losing the ball on these goals, and people don't always see it because what happens is like, all right, where was it shot from? A shot from like Teo Hernandez's side or something like that, but they don't see what led to it, and it's almost always Fofana.
yeah.
Like that being said, yeah, maybe he does actually deserve a lower rating, but I don't know. He's
When I
hard
don't
to
mind
rate for
him
me.
losing the ball, and especially like people should. But the problem was he doesn't bust his ass back to
No,
like
he
make
doesn't
it
care.
better. He just stands there like, oh,
He's a relatively
that's what
lazy
pisses me
player, and I
off.
mean, he
Yeah,
doesn't like. Yes, he's played a lot of minutes, but like he's not like busting his ass across the field the whole time. He saunters, he jogs. He's a lazier player.
I'm giving him a 5.5. I don't think he's been
Then let's go in between. He gets the original rating of a 6.
6. Okay,
All right,
fair enough.
left ass cheek. I think he deserves a 3.
Yeah, I was gonna say 3.
I don't think there's much to be said there.
That's not much.
He had a solid season last season as like when he entered Serie A. I think the pace of Serie A fits him better anyways because he does have quality at his feet. My problem is with this guy. He has really good size, right? He's been blessed with like great size and athleticism yet. He doesn't really use it at all in defense. He never marks his man in the box, even though he's taller than most players and stronger than most players. Only uses it when he has the ball and he's driving forward. Then he'll like push guys aside when he wants to play. It's like, why don't you use it in defense a little bit? You help inside the box. I can't stand that. So it really
Laziness,
bothers
man.
me. Um, but I would have sold him. That was something that I was pretty big on after he had his
Yeah,
pretty solid season, like a positive season last year. Sell him. You go back to England. Now his value is just going to tank. So either way, this
yeah,
dude gets a 3. I don't think he should be at Milan anymore.
I agree with you. 3.
Johnny Reinders, one of the very bright
Oh,
spots this season. He's been one of the best 2 players in my opinion. I would actually give him pretty close to about a 7.5, maybe inching into onto an 8 because
I
he's
give an
actually
8,
been
man.
without him. I don't think without him and I'll spoil the surprise about him and Pulisic. This team would be really freaking low,
They've been by
really
far
low.
your most consistent performers.
Yeah, this team would be really
Yeah.
freaking low without them. Seriously, it would be such a bad team without them.
Well, I mean, it's not going so good.
Yeah, but I mean, like, look where like they're at least battling for the top 4. If you don't have the contributions of these guys, even one of them, take one of them out, they're probably like 11th place, 12th place
Yeah, it's just amazing to me. Like this roster is not bad, and yeah, it's crazy.
on paper. But it's not a well built team. They
It's
don't
just
have a great, they. I don't know if Quincy is a great coach, but they don't have a great coach yet. But he might be, somebody who's excellent. I like his personality so far. We'll see what's to
yeah. We'll get
come.
into that for sure. Yeah,
This two games for me to judge yet, but and then the poison is at the top, which would be the last rating. Uh, Yunus Musa. I think he's serviceable.
Ugh.
He's not terrible. He tries hard.
Eh.
He works really hard. He's a typical like he's an American player, so he's always gonna work hard all game long. I just don't think he has that much quality to him. But he's not like awful. He's not causing a lot of mistakes that lead to goals. He's not making a ton of. Like, he's just not very great.
Yeah, it's I don't know. He's a body out there. I don't know. I give him a 5.
Yeah, he's between like a
It's hard to
five and a
say.
5.5. I don't think
What
he
was he brought
really.
in for? I don't really know. I mean, did anyone expect him to be a
Well,
great player? Is he a truly good utility guy for you guys? I don't know.
so Musa, in
He's,
my opinion, should be doing one of two things. He should be playing wingback,
yeah,
or he should be ought to just play pure D mid. Stop going forward. I don't care if you like to, because he said in one of his interviews. I don't care. You're gonna play lockdown D mid because he's fast and he's pretty physical. You're gonna learn the position, and if you just do it, you're probably gonna be one of the best in the world at it. But
yeah.
because people allow these players to do what they like to do, it'll never really amount to anything. So that's
I
my kind of
agree.
like hot take and stronger take on
But
Musa.
dude, you got to play expressive football or
Yeah.
expansive football. These are the hot new terms that people are
No.
using. Come on, man.
No. I mean, he's very fast. He's got decent ball skills. But like I don't really
Ain't a big
care.
deal.
You put that guy back in a D mid, and it's more like an N'Golo Kante. Now you got a player on your hands. So
You know,
that's what I
you
see.
got to also read the game too. I mean,
Yeah,
being
but
fast
he's
and strong doesn't mean you're gonna be a good D mid.
played there for the
Yeah.
U.S. So he can do it. I just think he needs a good
Well,
coach.
it's not.
But
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know if he's got. I don't think he's that good, but I
no,
could be wrong.
Musa
I
gets
think
he gets a
he's.
5, but I don't think he's like a totally
Uh,
lost cause. But he gets a
I don't
5.
think he's a Milan quality. I think that's a guy you move.
The issue with this is in that offseason, they bought only CMs. Why not a single D mid? They bought
Well, he's one
Reinders.
too.
They
Yeah.
bought Musa. They bought Loftus Cheek. Then they bring in Fofana. We already had Benacer. You
Do
have
you think?
no D mids. You're only center mids.
Do you think Benacer can do it?
Benacer is the only one who can play D mid, but like he's not up to fitness. He's been injured so much. You can't count on that.
Yeah.
Like and he's a pretty physical player. He's active. He's sliding in. Like he's
Yeah,
not
like
somebody who's
yeah,
gonna just be like chilling out and like preventing his injuries. Like he's probably gonna get injured again.
yeah. No, I always like Benacer.
Rafa Leao, basically like Teo Hernandez. When he wants to play, he's Milan's best player. When he doesn't want to play, pointless. But he has
Yeah.
sparked a lot of comebacks, a lot of points for Milan. Either way, he's still I think in like the top 10 players in Serie A for like chances created. Even with him playing the way that he's playing. So that's how talented he is, or at
Uh,
least how impactful he can be. So I think
yeah.
because like I know like we know his potential where he could be, I have a tendency to want to rate him lower, but really because of his impact, he probably deserves somewhere like in maybe slightly better than maybe he gets like a 6. It's a
Oh
weird
man, I
rating for
see.
me because I would want to rate him like a 4 because he's been just like a bummer to me, but I'm kind of going off of how many points he's gotten this team.
Without him, Conceição doesn't win any of those games. 0. But if he is actually playing the way he should be playing, Milan would never be in 7th place.
Correct. But
So I
that
don't
can't
think
also be
that.
on one player.
No, it's not. It's on. Well, it's on the. We are. I think we are. This is the last of them we talked about. So it's Teo, it's Leao, it's Magnan. This team is very much in their image, and these are your guys. And you shouldn't have whatever. We'll probably get to him next, but you shouldn't have Pulisic coming in there and being like, it's Pulisic. He wasn't like the most highly touted player coming in. He was respected, but he's not like no one thought he'd be outplaying these guys with consistency. He's the most. He's the guy you can count on the most out of all those guys, and he's one of the newer players. I don't know,
Yeah,
man. For me,
he's a hard
Leao.
rating, man. He's a hard rating because like maybe we should give him like a 5.5, but at the same time, like with how many points he's given and a lot of those games are because he turned it on. You know, he's weird. He'll
It's
play like a 2 and then an 8 or a 9 in the same game.
Leao's one of those players that he's so good you never want to say, yeah, sell this guy. because he's gonna go somewhere like else. Like he'll go to like Real Madrid and be amazing,
Yeah, because
or
the rest
Barcelona.
of their team can hack it, right? When you need
Yeah,
to be like one of the guys, Leao's not your guy. That's
and
been my whole thing with Leao. He can't be like you need to have a team and then add Leao and now you got to start.
that's exactly what I'm getting at here with both him and Teo. Neither of them can be the guy, and right
No.
now they're like asked to do it. And you see their attitude. They're pissy, they're whiny, they're like in and out of games. And then they do it and it goes well. They celebrate like it's their
Yeah,
first
and
time.
then the next game they're
And then they
just
go
kind of
back to being
chilling out
pissy
again.
again. Yeah. So it's like, man, I don't know.
Let's
We
just
grew
give
up
them the same
playing
rating
sports, people like
as
that.
Teo because both these guys are capable of
What did
delivering in
Teo get?
nines, 5.5, little below
Sure.
6. They're both capable of putting
Yeah.
in like top level performances, but they haven't been.
That actually pisses me off more. I think it's the rate. They're both the rating should be lower. I mean, I don't know.
I mean, they haven't
You
been as
never,
bad as Musa. They haven't been as bad as like. I mean, I don't
but you
know.
have players that are playing well. Okay, so Gavi is playing well.
Yep,
Reinders is playing well.
yep. Those are the only people above a 6.
Pulisic has been playing well. He's next on the list, right?
Yeah. No, he's we
Okay.
got two people above him.
Jimenez has been stepping up, doing
He's
a good
also above
job,
a 6 at 6'5".
serviceable. Magnan hasn't been a disaster, just hasn't been as consistent as. So there's pieces of the team that are playing well. Why is it going so poorly?
I think it's all. We'll get into that. That's the last thing here.
Okay,
That's in my
yeah, but
opinion the end.
these aren't
That's the
bad
end phase.
ratings. Why are they so low?
But they're not bad ratings because Milan is that like they're always
That's,
in games.
that's what
They
I'm
make
saying.
some late comebacks. You add a couple more wins here, Milan's well within the race. Not maybe not title race, but they're clearly in third if you add a couple more of these, like a couple more wins that they shouldn't have dropped
Mhm.
points to these teams. There's some they're not like awful, but I mean they are in seventh right now.
I mean, I think they're more
It's
talented
a
than
weird team.
Juventus, and yeah,
They are.
yeah,
Yeah, they are. We'll get into a couple
absolutely.
stink shows here. Okafor. Um,
Oof.
I think he's done
About
absolutely
two,
nothing. Yeah, he gets a two. The
two.
last season he came off the bench and got some really clutch winners. This season he's done legitimately nothing. Um,
Yeah,
I can't give him as bad of a rating as Emerson Real, but so he gets a 2.5 just because Real got a 2. I don't know, man. He's been terrible.
he's
He
a
gets a
two.
2.
He's a two.
All right,
I mean,
next.
awful.
Two. Do you see like his transfer fell through? I think it was like financial stuff,
Oh,
but
it
yeah,
did.
they said it was because of his medical, but I think it was because of
Mm.
financial stuff. That was just kind of a way. Chukwueze. He's not been great. He does have a decent left foot. He scored some goals, put a couple crosses. He's been rough. Duke gets a 4 or 4.5 in my opinion.
To me, I mean, I don't know what else people want out of the guy. That's what he is. He gets a 5. He's to me, he's playing exactly as expected, and it's just not good enough for
Let's
Milan.
split the difference. He gets a 4.5.
Sure. Yeah.
Christian Pulisic. In my opinion, I think
Whew.
he gets the highest score on the team because he does the things that, for me, I really respect. He has become a leader. He is he's kind of their go-to when he doesn't play. The team really struggles. He's incredibly smart. He sparks a ton of comebacks, and he's super clutch. I think that this is exactly the type of person who next to Gabby should be a captain. Um, I've always liked Pulisic. I didn't expect him to be this good when he came across.
I didn't
I
either.
liked him as
No.
a signing. I thought it was a smart signing, especially for the price. I mean, he had a 60 mil valuation at some point and dropped down to 20 when he came to Milan. But he's been excellent this season. Top notch, top class player. Good with both his left and right foot. Can play in a ton of positions too.
Yeah, it's more
Um,
versatile. Yeah,
I'd actually give him such a high rating. I would consider him almost like 8.5 to a 9. I think he's been
I was gonna say
massive.
9, dude.
Yeah.
Like, what else? Okay,
What more do you want from the guy? I don't know.
I think he's playing above. I think he's playing above what I expected, above expectation, and I have pretty low expectations in general for players, especially
He doesn't really have any bad
foreign
games
players coming
either.
in. No, he play every time he plays. He's one of the best players out there. Like you said, he's played multiple positions. Wherever you play him, he's never out of position because he's an intelligent enough person to play him correctly. This out of position stuff is really for very limited players.
Yeah,
It really
mentally
is.
limited mentally players.
Yeah,
I mean
yeah. Like
he's not.
it's not
You
that
know.
difficult of a game. It's a game. You've been playing it for how long now? You know what the positions are supposed to do.
Yeah, if
It
this
may
is your
not suit
life,
you
this is what you do
perfectly.
every day. You really
Yeah,
should know how to play a couple positions.
yeah.
May not be
Just
great at them, but you should know how to play the role.
yeah. You shouldn't be like horrible at it. So no, he's been awesome. I give him a 9. I mean, what else? I mean,
Yeah,
really, what else do you want out of him? Maybe a couple more goals here or there, something
sure.
to
Yeah,
give a 10. But like,
a couple more
yeah,
goals. But even when
he
he's
hasn't
having a
had a
bad
lot of
game,
knocks.
he's one of the guys. Even if he has a bad game, all of a sudden 70th minute comes by and he steps up and scores a clutch goal to win it or something.
Yeah,
It's the type of player he is, and I've been super impressed by him. So I think
yeah, he's been sweet, man.
as it shows, Pulisic and Reinders have been by far the best players. Um,
Yeah.
Next, the strikers, Alvaro Morata, workhorse, always gonna fight hard. Um, Diver, definitely a diver.
How do you say that? I mean, this is the game.
He just does it so outrageously that you
Is
notice it all the
dude,
time. Some people you just
don't get
notice
me
it.
started on this sport. I can't handle. It's the hardest thing to accept. So
It's
no,
just the
I'm not
way
gonna
he
go
does
down
it, dude.
that.
It's the way he does it, man.
I'm not comparing turds. They all stink just as bad as the next. Every
I
one of them.
think he hasn't been like as bad as people
Come on, man.
think he has
I was
been.
watching the old Milan game. I saw Gattuso rolling
Mm,
on the ground
I
and then
know. Yeah, yeah.
getting up and
Even
screaming in
like
people's
the like
faces. Come on,
the
dude.
tough guys, so to
Yeah.
speak, are not that tough.
Give
Um,
Gattuso one shift in the NHL, he'll come screaming and running off the ice or skating off the ice, crying and have to go home.
Most likely.
Yeah, come on.
Morata and just so people know, we absolutely love Gattuso, but it is what it is.
I love Gattuso. He's probably my favorite player and one of my top threes
Alvaro
of
Morata,
all
I
time.
think people give him way too much flack because he's like the striker that was brought in. But in my opinion, you know what you're gonna get from Morata. He's not
Yeah,
gonna bring you a ton of goals, but he's gonna give you a couple goals. He's gonna give you a couple clutch goals.
yeah.
He's gonna work hard. He's gonna be out of position all the time because he's gonna be going back to defense to help win balls, which is wild. I didn't think he was ever or should have ever been brought in to be the main striker. The goal was always you get Morata, then you get somebody who's like an actual striker. In summer, it was Xerxes as the option. Obviously, he didn't pan out for Man U, but the option was to run two people together, and Abraham was kind of last minute gap signing. But Morata was never supposed to be the guy, so I think he gets a little bit harshly done by. Um, but then again, he hasn't been amazing. I think I got to give him about a 5.5.
I mean, I like Morata a lot. I'm giving him a 4, and here's why. I take for granted at this point. So I watched a lot of Morata in my day. His work rate, his effort, but he's always at least produced goals. He's just not scoring at all this year,
Yeah, I
and
guess you're
that's
right.
something that I haven't seen out of him in a long time. And yeah, sure, he's probably doing a lot of extra stuff, but
He's kind of
he was
like
always a worker, man.
yeah, he's like a workhorse merchant, that's it, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
you're not getting the goals right now. I mean, how many goals do you have?
yeah.
Like four, five, six? What? Let me see.
I don't know. I mean, he scores in the past, and he was always the guy that would get like the big goal in the big game. He was really good in big games, but maybe it's a Champions League thing. Maybe he'll only play well in the Champions League for you or
Yeah,
something.
he's
I don't know,
got
but
5 goals in Serie A and one in the Champions League. That's just not enough for a striker. It's just
it's
not. It's quite poor.
no,
Yeah, yeah. He's got to go down from.
no.
So you wanted to go like 4.5? You said.
Yeah, I'm gonna give him a
I
4.5.
think
That's
he
perfect.
gets 5 for his work rate.
I think yeah, I wouldn't argue that. I mean,
Tammy Abraham. Um,
oof.
he'll have like one game where he looks like ridiculous because he's got a lot of silk, but then he just does
Yeah,
nothing. So I think he's even worse because Morata at least works hard when he's bad. Abraham kind of does, but he gets a
he
worse
goes
rating. I think
invisible.
he gets a
Yeah,
4. I just think
yeah,
he's not great. He might even get a 3.5, but
yeah. We'll give him a 4. I mean, he's had some nice passes. I don't know.
I don't know what you can
He's
expect from him. He's brought in on like the
what
last day as like a dry loan. Like I don't know what you're gonna get, guy.
I mean,
It's
last say schmast. I mean, you show up, you got to play. He's what he is. He's just an average to bad player, and he's performing as expected, in my opinion. This is what he does.
yeah,
He's got some ability, and you're just like, why can it never translate? Coaches have probably been saying about him since he was 10 years old.
yeah. It's like
Man, you're so
he's
fast.
got it all there. Yeah, he's got like
Yeah.
all the silk. He's tall. He's got some good strength, and every once in a while he puts it together. But it's still every once in a while, even at his age. Not
Well,
he hasn't gotten any more consistent.
no, and that consistency is the main difference between an average player and a class player. I
Big
mean,
time.
every single
Big
player at
time.
this level has skills. Every single player can shoot the damn ball. They have a certain degree of control. They have different skill sets here or there, but it's consistency. It's how you do it every single day. That is what class is. That's your standard. Your standard is your class. When you're inconsistent all over the place, that's a lower standard of class. So that's where really the conversation with Leao and Teo come in. It's like, well, what's your standard this minute? What's your standard this week? Class is consistency. The greatest players had that. You can count on them.
Yeah, I mean, you can look at like when he had his one nice season for Roma, he had 17 goals, and then the very next season, he was injured a lot and had 9. He's also made of glass. He barely plays, but the next
Yeah,
season that he
that's
played
not.
a lot of
Yeah,
minutes, he was 20. He played 2,100 minutes and only scored 8 goals. So from
yeah,
17 to 8, like he has no consistency. That kind of just backs up what we've been saying. He'll have
yeah,
a nice booming season once every 5 years is what for him. So
yeah,
that's not good enough. Coaches
yeah.
Fonseca. Hmm.
Oh well,
Hmm.
I think we're learning a lot about Fonseca that he wasn't as bad as people thought he was.
I never thought he was terrible.
But
Listen, I thought the appointment was terrible, and
yeah.
that's what I bashed the management for the appointment. What are you doing bringing Fonseca to AC Milan when you've got Antonio Conte sitting there? You've got so many other coaches that you could have chosen. You could have brought in Conte out at that time too. Then you choose
Oh, same
Fonseca.
reason. Same reason Juve didn't bring in Conte. They didn't want anybody with balls because they want to bring in. They want to buy and sell the players that they want.
Yep.
And Conte Sal, you know damn well, are going to get fucking pissed. And Conte's he's done it multiple times in the past. If he doesn't get who he wants, or if you sell someone out from under
Yeah.
him,
Yeah.
so they don't want to deal with that shit.
No. So they
So
go with
they brought
Fonseca.
in, yeah, brought in your yes man. He'll play ball.
Yeah,
You
and
get
the one thing I would say I was very surprised by him is he wasn't as like weak as I thought he was. He
yeah
made some pretty bold moves. I didn't think he did anything new with his tactics, and that's the same with Conceição so far. Everybody's
yeah
running Pioli ball, and they gave Pioli so much crap about his
yeah
tactics. But so far, I've seen a 4-2-3-1 and a 4-3-3, which is exactly what Pioli was running. I've seen no difference in anybody's tactics, so I can just
dude.
you can just
Every team's
stop,
running that
talking about
shit.
that stuff. Yeah, exactly.
Coaches,
I
the
haven't
game
seen
is in
any
such
new
a
vision.
sour. No, there's not. The coaches, the game is in such a sour state. Even tactical adjustments in the state in the through the course of the game are not. There's none. There's none. They just go out there and they just run these guys out there in these basic formations where it's very clear cut what everyone's role is. You know, it's super unconfusing. You know, and it's just such a shame.
Yeah.
And that's why, in our weekly reviews, I always, get all chubbed up, watching these Napoli games, especially those, before that, when they were really starting to make the turn about like these halftime tactical adjustments that would get made. You don't see those on a regular basis anywhere. I mean,
No.
Connie's one of the few guys doing it. So, I mean, dude,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I
I
was just
mean,
gonna say
this
with
is why
him,
I wasn't excited about bringing in Mota. What do you expect with Fonseca?
I mean,
These aren't
for
tactical
me,
guys.
I knew exactly what was gonna happen with Fonseca because I say it a lot. Fonseca's been coaching for 20 years. Like, you
Yeah.
know what you're gonna get. He's even been in Italy.
Yep.
Fonseca's gonna give you a battle. He's gonna give you a battle for Europa League and maybe if you're lucky, top 4. And where are
Yeah.
we at? Europa League, roughly, right? And that's where
Yeah.
he kind of ended things. And that's what you get. He also can't manage big players. He doesn't have the respect at all. He doesn't have the personality for it. He can't manage the big personalities, and that was a problem. Now,
Yeah, and
I
you got
don't
some big ones there.
for sure. And we got some big time prima donnas, and that's not the type of players he really can manage. So I think I wish him the best. I thought he was a pretty cool dude. I hope he goes. I think he's going to go back to maybe France and go to Lyon. I think he'll do well there. I
Sure.
think he's a fine coach. He was nowhere near as bad as I thought he was. The problem was not Fonseca. The problem was the management for hiring a known quantity that wasn't going to get you the results you wanted. So I can't really rate Fonseca that terribly. My bad rating will go later on when we get to the management. So surprise. Fonseca for me, I don't know. He gets like a
5.
5. Yeah, exactly. He gets a 5.
Yeah.
People probably, oh my god, you couldn't give him like a 3. No, I
No.
thought he was better than, and then I thought he'd be personality wise, and that's all I could ask for the
Yeah.
guy. I knew he was not gonna challenge for a real
Yeah,
spot.
you thought he'd be a 3 and it ended up being a 5.
Yeah,
Good for
yeah,
him.
exactly. Yeah, he wasn't as much of a beta as I thought he was, which is honestly
Yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah.
Once he's out, I'm gonna give him a big fat NA because, in my opinion,
Mm,
you have gotten the guy 0 players that he wants. You
right.
can't see anything. He's had some comeback wins already, which at least shows a little bit of grinta. Um, they don't play any different. They suck for 80% of the game. Then all of a sudden they turn it on. That's at least something, and
Well, they still
that's good.
they still drew what against a mid-table, a small table side,
Yeah, and
and they lost to the Juventus, who's in fifth place and also struggling
well,
with the
and I
same
mean
kind of
against
issues.
Parma, like they did not look good,
Yeah,
and
dude.
let's be real, it was nice that they came back, but a lot of that was lucky. Suzuki made a boneheaded play. Parma crumbled in 4 minutes. Like, come on,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it is
exactly.
what it is. I mean, yes, we always say you make your own luck, but a lot of these things have gone right against
Parma does
Girona.
sneak goals. Yeah,
Against Girona, the guy's toe was offsides, and they called that goal off.
yeah,
And so like, there's been a lot of games here that like
yeah.
kind of this pressing our luck a little bit. But for me, I still can't rate him.
Mm.
You've given him nobody, so he can't build a team in his image.
Yeah.
And he's played like a couple weeks. So I'm gonna give it an NA. I don't think you can
It's
judge him yet.
incredibly, it's an incredibly bad idea to take over a team mid-season. And if you want to see proof of that, you can look at Amorim in Manchester, in Manchester United. The difference is though, Conceição is not a system coach, so he doesn't need to have, uh, you know, players as badly as someone like that. But yeah, you can't really judge Conceição until he gets his guys in. But
Correct.
does he have guys? Like,
I mean,
does he?
right now
I
it's
mean,
all about who is
are they
Redbird
going to get
actually
him
gonna get for him.
guys?
I don't know. I mean, there's been tons of rumors, but will they actually make it happen? I don't know. Mercato is ending in a couple days here, and they haven't signed anybody.
January is a bad time.
Yeah, but you can at
You're not
least
going to
give
sign.
them like a little bit of support. Just one to two people. That's it. Most big teams are doing that. One to two
Well, when are we going
people.
to get into that?
Probably next, because next we go to management.
Yeah,
So management.
zero,
Agreed.
negative,
No, I'm gonna give them a
negative,
negative. I'm gonna give them a
negative
negative
five,
10. No, they get a negative 10.
negative
They've
10,
they've
negative 10.
destroyed my team that
Yeah.
I fell in love with. My passion for this team is so freaking low, because they've killed it. They've made it just like this marketing team where they just like release things with Taylor Swift and I Show Speed, and they make golden $1,000 freaking massive Lego bears. And this is the joke your team has turned into. There's zero core anymore. They're selling off your youth. They fire your biggest legend, and then they sell his son for peanuts. Obviously, that was very personal. They get rid of Abate, who's doing a great job with the youth team because Ibrahimovic had a spat with him because Ibrahimovic is a fragile man.
It's such
I mean,
petty
it's
shit.
this team is spawning from the top. This is why you see these guys like Layout and Hernandez acting out. You didn't see them doing this under Pioli. And
No.
then the last few years of Pioli, when it was just Redbird, they started to show the signs. Then they started to show the signs, and now it's just all you see now. Redbird is a joke. Every person in that organization sucks, starting from Cardinale to Scaroni, who's got his hands in all the weirdest pots. Then you've got Furlani, who's a weasel, and Ibrahimovic, who thinks he's a lion or something. He's got some type of disorder.
He's not lying.
I've never seen somebody
Yeah.
more like lost respect so fast, because basically he just needs to be a player, but as a director, he's gross. And same with Moncada. He's basically just finds talents in France, and that's all he's good for. That's Moncada. I don't know. This management has ruined my team. Now, if I look objectively, the team is not that terrible, right? But this team, for me, there's no passion, there's no feeling, there's no heart. And they just keep making wrong moves all the time. They go get rid of like your whole core, as I was saying. Colombo is gone. We could use Colombo right now,
Hmm.
right? We could use Colombo
Absolutely.
over Tammy Abraham. Why is he gone? I don't know.
Well, what? Where's the talent drop there? Either why is he? There's no talent drop even. Why loan the guy out or whatever they
I
did?
don't know.
Like
It's
what are they doing?
I don't know. Why would you sell Daniel
Same
Maldini
shit.
for free just to have a sell-on
Yeah.
clause when he could totally help you out? Like, and he's a Maldini. Like, this is the club he probably want to stay at his whole life. Yet you're like, no, you're gonna leave now.
It's because of two reasons. Okay, it's FFP and it's what's the tax thing?
What, the growth decree?
Growth decree. Like
I
these
don't think
things
growth
are
decree is
just
active right now, man. I think growth decree is. I mean,
no.
somebody can
It's
look this up. I
Jan
don't think
one. I
it's
think it
active.
came back. No, it was gone for a year and it's back now. So I think it came back Jan 1.
I
Doesn't
don't. So
matter. They know
somebody's
it's
gonna
coming
have to
back.
look that up, but I don't
It,
think
it, it
so.
was only gone for like a year, anyways. It's not like they're going to change all their entire strategy in a year.
I think it's more
Dude,
sinister than that. I think they wanted to come in as most CEOs do, and they want to create their own culture. And they wanted to break the current culture at Milan. They've done it. and they want to
Yeah.
instill
Well,
their own.
that's the first thing when you take over a company, you fire all the big
That's right.
heads. You
Look
get them
who's
out.
the new scapegoats
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Calabria has been there for a long time.
Yep.
Leao, Hernandez.
Yep.
All the old guys are going to go away. And that's
Mhm.
probably fine because, honestly, to run it the way that they have to, they probably do need to get rid of these
No,
guys to run it the right
that's
way.
what you have to do because these guys come in. They
They don't gel.
this is not a company. Okay, this is a fucking sports team. People go to see this to enjoy themselves. It brings people
They
joy.
feel passion. Exactly.
People aren't going there to make a living. People are going there out of because they're
No, they're
choosing
actually wasting their
to see
money.
it.
They're spending the money
So
they've earned all week to
what
on this stuff.
pisses me off more than anything, and I say this about Juventus all the time, it's like you have a team, Milan in Milan, that has existed with a certain culture and a philosophy for 100 fucking plus years. And this dickhead is going to come in and be like, no, fuck you. All that's changing. I'm going to do it my way. Who
That's
the fuck are you?
Well, he's the
What?
owner, and this is now what we get. And the
So,
sad thing is, I don't see it changing anytime soon.
no, it's not. Dude, our clubs are finished, bud. If if people think that he's going to sell the club and it's going to go to someone better, they're kidding themselves. Who's going
Yeah.
to manage it? Who's going to take it over? Oh, Maldini's going to come back?
The
You
only hope,
wish.
the only hope for that, and people hold on to it, and I hope it happens. It probably won't. Is for a rich, like, or, a sultan or like one of the Arab owners to come in and for them to just buy it as their play toy because that's what it should be. It should be like a passion project and a play thing, and then have like Maldini and Leonardo and those guys come back and
Yeah,
run this thing.
and
That's
Maldini's going to
the
come back in
only
and
chance.
reestablish an Italian core. He didn't do
That's
it when he was there last time.
He didn't. No, he didn't.
No,
That's actually one of my bigger knocks on him because I wasn't like, oh, everything he did was great. I thought he was very good for his time here. He even got a Scudetto and he
but they
was
did build a good youth
excellent.
system,
Yeah, for sure. And
which
and
is that's where you get him from.
that is where you get it from. So
And
I can't
he's not the
really
kind
give
of
him
guy
that
that's going
yet.
to sell off his youth system. It does take
No,
time.
he didn't want
Like,
to.
yeah,
He didn't want to get
it's
rid of Donnarumma. Didn't want to get rid of Kessie. Didn't want to get rid of Romulo. He was restricted
right.
to a salary. People blame him all the time, but I'm like, do you think Maldini walked into Romagnoli and was like, "Hey man, I really don't want to give you 500 extra K a year to stay here."
Right.
You think that was his decision? You think that was his
No.
decision to not give Donnarumma an extra mil? Come
Well,
on.
here's
Same
here's
with
my question.
Kessie?
Have you looked into what they're actually besides Donnarumma? I'm sure he's getting paid quadruple, but what's Romagnoli? Is he actually getting paid that extra
Probably not.
500,000?
Probably not.
No. So this is the kind of these are the kind of things that people get lied to about, and the media lies to people, the general public, because they don't really know what's going on, and who's the one creating like the press. So like I know that we had a bunch of issues like, oh, he didn't want to take less money, Case at Rabio, and then you look and they signed for less money. You're like, well, he obviously did. So what was the issue really in those
Yeah.
negotiations? Were they just told, no, we got to get this guy out of here. We need to move him because they're going to get us capital gains, or is there some other
Yeah, I think that
there's
there
some other
actually
meaning?
was a big form of culture breaking, and so I
Yeah.
think that was a very big thing. And now you're seeing the old guard all either starting to have problems or about to leave. I don't think you're gonna
Yep.
be left with many of the old guard that got Milan back to heights again because they were in banter era for quite some time, and that old guard who did get him back there is all gonna be gone. So that's what you're seeing. So management for me is a -10. Something I'll say too is when people say the last thing I'll kind of say before what I think they should do when we get
Yeah.
to the rebuild is everybody talks about results as the main thing. And I get that sentiment, but for me, as a player on the field, that is all that matters. If I'm playing a sport, I don't care how we get it done. I want to win, and that is the most important. By far, it's not even close. As a fan, it's not. I'm too old to have more like a Neanderthal type of thing where like I just care about wins. I watched Milan because I fell in love with the club, fell in love with their history, fell in love with what they represented and the players that they have and the soul of the team, right? The heart, the cuore rossonero, right? That's gone. That's why I watch, and I would actually argue and say that's why most fans fell in love with them. They didn't fall in love because they won a bunch of stuff. If that's your metric, go watch. Not this year, but go watch Man City in the past several years.
Right.
Go watch Real Madrid. If you just care about a team who wins, go pick the best team and follow them. That is not what builds loyalty to me. It's all the other stuff that has been broken. So that's where I stand on that. So results are not my
Well,
end all be all. Like I will not feel passionate all of a sudden if Milan wins a Scudetto. I'm like, oh my god, this team is like my heart. No, there's no core here anymore. There's no culture here anymore. It would just be a random team for right now.
it's just a random team winning a random Scudetto. I say this all the time with the Juventus philosophy. It's 2025. Modern day men think that apathy is a sign of masculinity or something like that. It's like no, just being apathetic and not giving a shit, acting like it's all about business and money. You don't understand either of those things. Just stop it.
Yeah, everybody thinks they're
The
playing Football Manager
yeah,
or
business.
FIFA.
It's
It's
a
like, and that's
business. You don't know
great, but
it
that
is and
doesn't
it
make me
isn't. You don't
passionate.
really know what you're talking about. That sounds great. It sounds tough. You probably just watched The Wolf of Wall Street. Good for you.
It's fun to
But they,
do, but it's not what
yeah,
makes you love a
yeah.
team.
No, this is not. These teams weren't founded on that ideology. So where was I? I was in Amalfi, and I'm looking at my wife and I like looking at this mural or whatever that was painted on this church. It was like massive. It took like 80 some years to finish. Multiple people had to assume that project and finish it in the image that the first guy had. When you take over, like I was saying about the management, when you step into a team of Milan that's existed with a certain philosophy for 100 years, and yes, it has absolutely had a very specific philosophy for that time. You come in and you just shit all over it. You destroy all that history because
And
now it's 2025 and no one gives a
they
fuck
don't even
anymore because
have
we
they
have
don't
a
even have
very
youth team players anymore. Look at it.
no, dude.
You
It's
have
because the
Gabia
fan
and
base is
Calabria. One's good, one
disconnected.
sucks. I mean, it's that's what you have.
The fan bases of 20 years ago would never accept this shit. The fan bases do now because you have incredible international fan bases. You have apathetic people who care about nothing, and this they can do whatever they want because they're not really going to bitch about it. So it is what it
Yeah, I
is.
mean, they're still making profits, right? I mean, as much
That's all that
as
matters.
people protest, well, guess what? Those guys are still buying tickets,
I mean, they're only
right?
protesting because they're American. They really don't care that much.
I think the
They,
Curva was protesting, which are
well,
not Americans,
the
but
curve wanted what's his face
the
out. Come
Curva
on,
is the
man.
same Curva who gave Maldini
Yeah,
crap. And honestly, I
yeah.
don't really respect Milan's Curva that much, but it's
No.
still they're still gonna go buy a
Are they
ticket
bitching
next
with
year.
Conceição right now?
No, no, but just
Oh,
watch. If
oh,
things don't start going well in a little bit, then they'll turn
oh.
their face on that. It's just
So
not. I don't know.
the management they could bitch at, and then they fired the coach. Now the management's cool.
Oh
No, you
no,
should still be out
dude.
there, even if you got Sergio
Just watch
Conceição.
1 to 2 signings, and they'll change their whole tune.
Of course, that's how
It's
these people
very
are.
wishy washy.
Oh, if they beat Inter next week, oh, it's
Yeah,
amazing, wonderful. The beauty of Milan.
yeah.
Oh,
They
my
beat
heart.
Inter. That's great. You know,
Yeah, I'm gonna,
if you give me a
yeah,
scudetto, give me something meaningful.
yeah.
Yes, it's nice, but honestly, like, there's no more vitriol in this rivalry because nobody's been here long enough to actually
No one,
care. Nobody
the
grew
players don't
up.
give a
Nobody
shit.
grew up in the Milan system hating Inter, vice versa. So there's no more fire.
No,
Like after
it's
the game now, they'll trade jerseys and hug. That's not the derby. I don't know.
I watch a lot of old matches just because I like to make sure that I have my balance.
Like
Because
let's make sure we're not just crazy, right?
dude, yeah, I watch a lot of games. I'm fortunate to have a job where I can watch all these games. I'm going at a certain point. I'm just like numb, and I need to watch something because I'm like, man, was it really? And every single time I put on, I'm
It
like,
is
this is
better.
way better. It's
It
for
is
the
better.
first 5 minutes. It's
Yeah.
immediately better. Like these players are just terrible. These
It's
coaches can't do
becoming very
anything about it.
diluted.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a shame, and I don't know what the solution really is. I mean, I don't think for any of these teams, like as soon as you sell your soul, it's sold.
I agree.
You don't get it back.
I agree. I
You
don't think you get
really
it
don't.
back unless there's like as I said, like that like takeover that I don't think will ever happen. That's it. That's the
Well,
only
well,
way.
and I mean, even going forward, look at the roster. You'd have to fire the whole fucking roster and start over and eat
Yeah,
shit
and you're not
for
really gonna do
literally
that
two
because the
years.
roster is decent.
No,
You're not gonna do
it
that.
is.
Yeah.
It's decent enough. So
Like
what do? You hold
objectively looking at
on.
it, it's a solid team.
Yeah, you just gotta hold on and kind of clunk along.
Yep.
It's just,
Pick
yeah,
up a couple
yeah.
pieces. So
Hmm.
let's
Well, so
get
you guys are in a lot
into.
better shape than we are. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean Milan's team really a couple pieces, man. They need like three
Yeah.
pieces and they'd be totally fine.
Sure.
All right, let's get into what they should do. So for me, obviously January is a little bit different. I wouldn't do too much in January. I would definitely be going and getting a D mid. I think that's priority number one. I don't care how much it costs. You go get a D mid. It's gonna change
Well,
the
I mean,
game
who's your
immediately.
guy?
Um, It was never going to happen, but I think you start making inquiries for Rovella. But in my opinion, the other one it's impossible is Tonali. I think that you could make Redbird could do one thing that would all of a sudden get so many fans back on their side. They could right their wrong and bring back Tonali. That
Yeah,
would change the game so hard for so many fans. They're like, wait a minute, they actually did that.
they're so arrogant they will never do that.
It would.
He was
Oh,
bragging about it in a recent fucking
they will
whatever
never
he
do
was
it.
doing.
But I will say that would be the one thing they could do that would all of a sudden change so many fans' opinion of them. It would be such a bright move on their part too. He would fit
They
the
don't care
team.
about the fans' opinion.
No, I know,
They
I know. I'm just saying that's what I
don't
would
care about
do.
the
Yeah.
plebs.
No, we know that. I'm just saying that's what
Yeah,
they should
yeah,
do because it would
yeah.
change the whole situation. You
If
got
they cared, that's exactly what they should do. Yeah.
so your top guys would be Tonali first, Ravella second, Ricci third. That's what I would do. A fourth guy you could bring in for sure is Friendrip if you're looking and if you're not looking to rebuild the Italian core, which I want to do, then you bring in Friendrip because he's solid for that. Um, Next they change formation. They go either a 3-4-3 or a 3-5-2. The easiest way is to go 3-4-3. It's pretty easy. The team kind of picks itself. Gabi in the middle, Pavlovic on the left, Mori on the right. You now put Teo as a wing back. You now have Jimenez as a right wing back. So now both those players are in ideal positions for them. Your center backs who are more error prone but are more aggressive markers like Tamori and Pavlovic are
Yeah.
now in much better positions with a controlled presence behind them like Gabi. It all works
Yeah, and
so much
Chow
easier.
too. He's
Yep. And then you give more support to your midfield if you want to stick with a two man, so it's not as exposed because you have more people there. So it's for
yeah.
me, it's way better. You still need that at D mid, but it's a better formation. And then
I
your front line picks itself still. It's Pulisic layout, and you should bring in a striker. Right now, be Morata. I don't know if we could bring in a D mid plus striker.
I like the striker you're linked with.
I think he's gonna do very
We
well
we
in Syria.
we talked
He
about him
reminds me
even
of Retegui.
last year. Yeah, I like him. He scores big goals.
Yeah,
That's
there's
a big
some
thing for me.
a lot of mixed reviews on him because Milan's been burnt a lot in the past, with guys like Piatek. But I mean, he's not a one season wonder, Jimenez. And
No.
watching him play, I haven't seen him too much, I'll admit. But I mean, the games that I have seen, he's a pretty classy player, and he scores in multiple different ways, which is something that like Retegui does. I really do think the most parallels are drawn to Retegui. He's a smart player. He can use his body. He's a good athlete, not slow. I mean, like he definitely reminds me a lot of Retegui, and I think with a good
Uh,
team, he'd do well.
he works hard. He scores clutch goals. I like him. I mean, it's the striker is the hardest position for Serie A to translate because Serie A is a very tough league for strikers. But I think he'll be just fine.
Yeah, I would
Yeah,
honestly want to sell off Morata and Abraham, and I would like to run with a core of. I would go and get Jimenez and Lorenzo Luca, and
yeah.
that way you have two
Luke has
different
been good,
looks.
man.
Yep, he's a lot more talented than I gave him credit for at the start of the season. He's
Yeah.
big and tall, but he's not as ganglion and uncoordinated as I thought he was.
Well, he is, but he knows how to use it. Okay.
Well,
He knows how to
he's
take
yeah,
those tree trunks,
he
get
really
that ball in the
does
net.
a good hold up play, which is something that I've
Yeah,
always given Skamaka crap for because he's huge and he doesn't use his body strongly. Luca does use his body strongly.
but
I
he's
like
got all
that a
those
lot.
tats, bro.
Yeah,
He's,
exactly.
he's so
That's
tough.
how you know he's not tough.
Yeah, exactly. He's not tough at all.
Well, that's what I would
Luca,
do.
I like.
And
I
then
like Luca
and then you
Jimenez. Yeah,
start to bring up Camarda in that mix right there. You start to bring up Camarda and
yeah.
hopefully they play this two striker
He's
formation
17. He's
sometime.
got.
He's 16, right? We're going on
Oh
17, he
God,
is.
is he really? Jesus.
Let me
Yeah, I mean, he's
see.
got plenty of time, dude. It doesn't matter. He's got 3-4 years before we
He's
need to worry about seeing
16.
him again. Yeah,
16.
let him develop.
Yep.
We don't want to. You don't want to kill his confidence too early. Let him go beat up everybody his age. And get a couple runouts here and there, like Copa games and stuff like that. Perfect. That's all.
But I mean that's
Let's not make too much out of him just yet.
I think that's a much better striker core,
Yeah,
and that you
yeah,
actually
absolutely.
have like legitimate players. And honestly, you wouldn't even need Luca if you just kept Colombo. You could have Jimenez, Colombo, and then bring up Camarda too. It doesn't really matter. But
Yeah,
you know,
I like the Colombo. I think
your
Colombo's
your
good.
striker
Yeah.
core is not great right now, so that needs a big upgrade, and that's going to drastically improve the team. So
It's
that's what I would do
really
there.
hard to find good strikers these days. They just aren't out there. And when they are, they're like
They're way
extremely
overpriced.
expensive.
Yep.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's even worth it. So
It's hard to
yeah,
say. It's hard
there's
to
like
say because
five
I
guys
mean,
out
if
there
you
that are
do catch
truly
a
great. Yeah.
diamond, it's going to be
Well,
well worth it. So
yeah, I think that's what you do. I think that's honestly the strategy for. the modern day. You just try to get a diamond.
Yep. So
Yeah,
striker,
I like Castro a lot. Santiago Castro. I think you could
Castro
throw
been
him
playing well.
on. You could throw him on Milan. You're gonna get work rate. You're gonna get
I want to rebuild the
link up
Italian
play.
core, so I would take
Oh,
Luca.
me too. But
So this is what I would do. You know, if what they're gonna do, they might
Esposito,
get
Luca, Colombo.
Jimenez,
There's
they might get Ricci. We'll see.
well, you got both Esposito brothers are looking good. But I like what's his face,
Bastiano.
Sebastiano. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So there's definitely
So we talked about
some
midfield,
talent out there.
talked about attack. I would also offload guys like Jovic, Okafor, Chukwueze, get rid of them.
Oh yeah,
Musa,
gotta
I
take out
would
the
use
trash.
as trade bait as well. I would sell him. Loftus Cheek gone. Benacer, I like him a lot, but I think he's too injury prone. It's just a matter of time. I'd actually sell him while he's got some value.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, I think you can offload a ton of guys. Royale, I can't believe that he played. Why would they start the guy when he's going to be sold? Like you had a glorious opportunity to make your money back on that guy. You'll never get it again.
I have.
I can't believe he played the first 2 minutes of the game, and then
I think
I
that's a
think he
fake
faked it.
injury.
Oh yeah,
I
he
think
for
it's a
sure.
totally fake injury, dude.
Yeah, I think he
Yeah,
faked it. He's just
yeah.
living the life right now.
Yeah, I don't get sold right now. I just want to collect that check. Yep. Yeah, yeah. This is why you don't hire these foreign mercenaries, man. Like it's a whole. This is what I always say on X with both your team and my team. I go, oh, big surprise! You hire a team of entirely foreign mercenaries, and they lack compassion. Shocker.
Yeah, I mean, especially when there's no culture already in place. Yeah, it's
Honestly,
why would they care?
well, we said they're only a couple pieces away. They're really not. They are an entire culture away from being what they are.
Yeah, if
If
you
they're
look
only a couple pieces
objectively at,
away,
at the players, there's only a couple pieces away from a quality starting lineup on FIFA. But can they pull it together? It's different.
no, yeah, I don't think it's that simple with them actually. I think it's a lot because they have more talent than Juventus and they're behind them in the table. That's unacceptable. Juventus is having a disaster season. I want everybody fired from them
It's
from
definitely
that team.
it's definitely a culture thing, and as I say, it
It's a
starts from the
culture thing.
top. Um,
You got to bring in. I don't know. I don't give a shit what you do in January. I think the season's toast.
no,
I think what you got to
the
do is you got
season is
to.
definitely not toast because they have
I
to
think it's
fight for top
toast.
four. Like,
You think they're going to
and
get top four?
I think they might get fifth. If Serie A gets 5 spots, I mean Milan's not far off. I mean,
They
where
can't
are they at?
fight for top
They're
four
like
with
they
this
can
team they
already
have
fight
right
for it.
now.
They can already do it. But I mean,
Yeah.
give him one signing that Contisao actually wants. Got to do
Who?
that. I don't know who he
Jimenez.
wants. I don't know who he wants. But you got
I
to give
think
him a guy he
honestly, the
wants
striker makes the biggest impact right now.
for sure. I
I
mean,
think that's the guy
Morata
you
and
get.
Abraham have like a combined like 6 goals in Serie A. It's just awful. Something
I
like
know
6 or 7 goals.
you guys have been linked with Varela. Varela's really good from his old team Porto, Conceição's team Porto. If Juve don't qualify for the Champions League, his son will be up for sale because we can't afford to buy his loan. So you
I mean,
have
Milan's
little
at
Chico.
34 points with the game in hand. If they win that game, they're at 37, tied with
You're
Juve in
right. They
fifth
got a game
place.
in
I
hand.
mean,
Yeah.
they're not far away. Like they
I mean, I
can
don't think we're going to
definitely.
qualify, so
And
I
Lazio
definitely
has
don't
been
think they're
struggling.
going to.
They'd be 2 points behind Lazio.
Yeah, that's true.
So
Lazio and Fiorentina are both blowing it. So is Bologna, who's the other team in
they're
the mix.
they're right in it. So yes, they should be fine, and a
Yeah,
signing would guarantee it. So
yeah.
how I'd finish it out. I would also start looking at some younger defenders, especially if you're going to go with the 3-man, because you're going to need some depth. They sold off all of our good depth, so we don't have any left. I think you go look at a guy like a Camuzzo or somebody like that to kind of come in. Um,
Camuzzo, absolutely.
yep, and then
Camuzzo, Vidi looks really good. I really like Vidi. He's having an excellent year. That disaster show on the other side, the defense is getting all the headlines right now. That guy you don't want. Vidi's been much better, much more solid. Ismaili's done good work there too, but no one cares about him because he's 28. So
right, but he's
um,
actually a pretty solid Serie A defender.
yeah, he's been solid. He's not an amazing player, but he's been super solid and
Mhm.
really helping that young defense out. I mean, dude, he's got a 21-year-old and a 20-year-old next to him.
Yeah. For me though,
They're
I mean,
damn good.
I think I want to rebuild that core pretty solid, so I wouldn't go and get Ismaili. I would go get a youngster, and then I think
Yeah,
you need to start incorporating these guys from the youth team and stop selling them off. Like they've got guys like Kevin Zeroli who can actually play midfield. You've got Liberali who's got a ton of talent. That guy needs to be incorporated. Like there's so many
he's also
players.
extremely young.
Yes, but they can play some games here and there to kind of
Zaroli
start
can
getting
play
that
now.
back.
Terracciano can play more games now. Like these guys aren't bad players. They can
Scotti
get
and
more into the
Sia and
mix.
Bartasagi, they're all good players. They need to be slowly integrated so they actually build this back. Like this is the way you do it. You don't just offload them the second they get a game, which is exactly what they're going to do.
Oh, that's because it's all
Pure
it's
capital
this is
gains,
the
right?
this is the mentality. It's all about the books. They're
Yep.
running a business. It's they don't give a shit
Yeah. Before
about
they
the
have to
profit.
renew him on like an actual salary, and before they have to
It's
actually, or once they make some money off him because they paid nothing. Yeah, of course, they're gonna sell him.
they're just selling widgets. It's just managing widgets. That's their that's how it is for these guys. It's a shame. I don't think you should sell youth team products until they're 23 or older. I think 23 is the time you can really tell if they're going to pan out.
Yeah, I mean, at the
And
most, just loan them, right? Because you're
yeah,
always
loan
gonna
them.
be mad if you let go of your youth guy and they
Yeah,
turn out to be awesome. Like that just feels
yeah,
terrible. Like it
yeah.
feels
And
bad.
loans work. Loans work. Loans work. By put in buyback clauses like Real
Yeah,
Madrid does. You know.
Exactly. It's always like those teams doing it, right? Well, why
Yeah.
aren't Milan, if they're trying to be a big team again? Why is Milan always taking the back seat? Why do they always get dominated by Atalanta in negotiations? Why was CDK alone with an option to buy to Atalanta? You put all
Right.
the power in their hands. Like this is not what a big team does. They don't give all the power to a team that's supposed to be smaller. You're basically taking the beta role, which is not the way you get Milan back.
This is exactly how Giuntoli does business. It's because they don't give a shit about the players the way that Atalanta does. Atalanta has to care about their program. Bologna has to care about their program. They're gonna fucking work you, or they're not gonna take what you're selling.
One more thing I would do is I would be looking at Parisi for Hernandez's backup on the left
Yeah.
side, especially if you're running a three-man back line with him at a wing back. I think Parisi is a good wing back.
Did
Maybe not the best side back, but a good wing back. And
Did
that's
you
pretty
see
solid.
Coyote went to England?
I saw it. Yeah, that was a guy I would have loved to kind of pick
No
up.
one wants this guy.
Yep, he's not expensive right now, and if he has a good season or so, he's gonna be very pricey. But
Yeah.
if you look at like Milan side backs, if you're running Jimenez and Teo with Parisi and Walker backing them up at wing back, that's fine. I'm okay with that.
Well, Walker can't play wing back.
Yeah, he might not be able to now. Maybe he's best
He's
as
too
like
fucking slow. Yeah,
right center
side back.
back. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, he can do
but
kind of similar job to what
Terracciano
Di
can play
Lorenzo's
it.
doing.
Musa can still play it. There's a lot of players who can play wing back. Fine.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you got plenty of wing backs there. I think
Yep.
that's definitely having the wing backs. This helps Teo out so much.
Hmm.
Earlier we were talking about like when you relieve someone, when you have someone who has put them in a position when they have to have a lot of tactical responsibility, it restricts them. They can't handle it. That's his problem when he's playing as a true left back. You get him as a wing back, man. You're gonna free him up, let him do what he does best, remove as much, remove a lot of responsibility from him. I think he'll be a lot happier camper over there. Oh, who knows? He probably doesn't give a shit either way. He'll probably
No,
say, "Oh, whatever.
he'll be
I
better
got."
there. But
He's like, "I got a fashion shoot I got to go to after
even
this
if
game."
if he
And
doesn't care, when he doesn't care, it's going to hurt the team less.
yeah, true. Yeah,
And
exactly.
that's the big difference. It's like when he
Yeah.
doesn't care and he's having a bad game, like and he doesn't want to defend. Well, you've already got defenders behind you, and a guy like Pavlovich is going to care because that's just who he is. So it's
Do
okay.
you really run a trident up top? Do you really run a 3-4-3 or a 3-5-2?
I prefer the 3-5-2, but right now, if you have Pulisic, you have Leao, and you have a
With this
striker.
roster, yeah,
If
yeah.
you get Jimenez in, yeah, you for sure run it. If you don't get Jimenez in, yeah, you could try to run like a two man up top. But I mean, you'd have to bench one of those two guys. You can't run Pulisic,
Oh,
Leao,
you
and
can
Leao
still
together.
you could no see I'd run. Yeah, that's the problem. You get at the bench Pulisic.
Yeah, I mean, you
Or,
probably
or, or you
bench
start
Leao right now,
Pulisic.
honestly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You bring Leao on late
Problem is none of those guys
because
can play like a false
nah,
nine, so you need a striker.
and you don't want to have one of your best players on the bench. Either way, you're gonna have one of your best
Yeah,
players on the bench. So
you
yeah,
gotta
you got to
run
run
the
three
run the
four
three man.
three.
Yeah,
I still don't like that center midfield, dude. I don't
I
like
would
Reinders
love it.
Fofana at all.
I would love it to be a 3-5-2 personally, because that way you can run that three man midfield, which is what I want to see here.
Mhm.
But you would have to kind of trade off who's playing with the striker. It's going to be either Leao or Pulisic with the striker. If it's Jimenez,
Yeah,
great. Like if you have Jimenez plus Leao or Jimenez plus Pulisic, great.
yeah,
And you can also run Pulisic in that midfield as like a center mid, but is basically an attacking mid, and he can play like in
yeah.
between, almost like a 3-4-1-2, like a pseudo
Three
three
four
four one
one
two.
two. Yeah, yeah.
He works
Three
hard
four.
enough to kind of make that work. It's possible you could do that.
That might be your best option. Put him more centrally, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you could run like a true D mid. I mean, and then you'd have
yeah,
to sub out like Fofana because you don't really want to sub out Reinders, but and that'd be okay
yeah.
if you have a true D
Well,
mid behind him.
I like that too because then Leao doesn't have to come play defense. He doesn't like doing that.
No,
So
so
then that's
that's my
optimizing.
favorite formation is 3-5-2. But with this current squad, if you're only making one change or so, then I think 3-5-3-4-3 is what you can run right now. It won't be that
Sure.
much different for them. So
No, no.
I think we end it there.
Yeah, I mean, well, okay. So who are your top three summer signings for 2020 summer 2025?
Top three summer signings. Is
Yeah,
this considering
targets.
that we get Jimenez or not for striker?
No, you're in charge. You're the
Well,
boss.
what do we get in
You
winter?
got shit.
What did we get in
Nothing.
winter?
Failed. No, you
Oh,
guys
we got
failed to.
nobody. We
Yeah,
got
nobody.
nobody.
It is. It
We
is
got
what it is.
nobody.
No assumptions made.
All right.
The
I
negotiations
actually
broke down.
like the Jimenez links. I think I actually would strike that deal. I would go Sandro Tonali 100%. I think you got to
Mhm.
bring back the guy. You can't get him, you go Ravella, but we're not doing either. This is me. I would do Tonali. I would get a center back. I honestly would go with
Alonso.
Camuto.
Hmm.
Yep, and I think he's strong. He's a very strong for his age, especially. He's
He's a
physical.
good player.
And I mean, yeah, he's gonna make mistakes, but he's like 19. And then I would probably go Jimenez if you can't get him. You go Luca. I think Jimenez is gonna do well in Syria. I just have a good feeling about it. I know he's not the
Is
sexiest name.
Colombo coming back?
No, I don't think he's coming back.
You don't. He's not on loan.
I don't know what his deal is, but I doubt he's coming back. He's having a good season, and Milan will take any profits they make.
Hmm.
What is his deal?
I think he's on loan. I
He's
think you still
on
own
loan
him.
with the option to buy for 7 mil.
Option. Option.
7 mil, man.
My
They're gonna
God.
if they stay
I
up,
mean,
they're
it's
gonna
thankfully,
retain
yeah.
that. Yeah, they're gonna retain that. So if they don't stay up, then yeah, they probably won't. But I mean, Empoli is at 21 points. They're clear of the drop zone by not too much. So if they go down, maybe Colombo comes back. If they stay up, they're gonna redeem it for 7 mil.
Yep.
That's a no brainer. But yeah,
Oh yeah.
those would be the three changes that I make as far as signings goes. I mean, there's more that they need, but it's not even close.
Oh,
D mid
I
and striker, it's
yeah.
not even close.
Yeah, I'd be blowing a lot of it up, but yeah.
Yeah, I would love to have a full on revamp and actually build this team back in the image of AC Milan,
Right.
but if you're just
Yeah, I
sticking
would
to
actually
three,
totally fucking clean it up.
I do the
Yeah.
spine. You're going straight down on the spine. You got striker, D mid, and center back.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the most important anyways.
All right,
Cool.
that's it.
I
Thanks
like
everyone
I
for
like
watching.
these. Yeah. These are fun.
We'll be back probably we might do a little Champions League review after this last round, which is
Yeah.
going to be tomorrow, maybe, and then but we'll
It's
definitely
it's
be
not
back
the
after
most
the
exciting
weekend.
round. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna say anything profound in that one. Maybe we'll just wait till next
That's
week.
fine. Yeah, we got there's a
Oh,
big round in Syria coming up here with the Milan Inter Derby. So
yeah, and
um,
the window closes after this weekend, right?
yeah,
So
I think it's the second February 2nd is when it
yeah,
ends,
so
which would be on a is that a Sunday? It is
on a
Sunday.
Monday, is it Sunday? Yeah,
Sunday,
so
yeah. So it's
perfect.
last day.
Our Monday night when we usually do it,
That'd be
we'll
great. Yeah,
yeah,
we'll do a
maybe a
little
little
recap.
longer one, but yeah, there's still some teams that have a ton of things that they need to fix, and I'm not seeing anything being done. So
Yeah, the biggest thing you're gonna watch out for, and it was just what we said last time, is will Milan land the striker, and will Napoli replace Kabara? Those are the
I don't think
biggest
they
two things
have
that are
to.
last.
That's for another show. I don't think they have to. I just think not right now at least because you're going to get charged January tax. I just think they just need to like bring a loan in just to cover some backup
Yeah,
depth. I
we'll
don't
see
think
what
you
they
need to
do though.
find like
I
the
mean,
guy. Yeah.
if Conte wants it and he thinks it's necessary, then they're gonna do it.
Yeah, I mean, he already said in the press conference. Did you hear what that interview was kind of funny?
No,
He's like, what he's like, what are we gonna bring a prospect in for? What's he gonna do right now? He's like, they'll make me laugh. If I need a prospect, I have a guy from the
right?
youth.
He needs somebody who can actually win now. I mean, he's trying to win a
Yeah,
Scudetto. He doesn't
and
need
he
the end
goes, yeah,
product, you know.
exactly. He goes, they don't have if they don't bring anybody in, I have no problem going to war with the guys I have. So
Oh,
hey,
something else
yeah,
that I forgot to say. Why is AC Milan not going and signing Casade?
oh
Just
exactly,
get rid of Loftus Cheek. Go bring in Casade. They play
yeah,
basically the same role. You have a kid who's talented who went for like 12 mil with like paid over a couple years, and not that this matters because everybody says anything, but he's a self-admitted Milan fan. Bring him in. Like,
they,
what are
they
you
don't care.
doing?
Yeah, they don't care.
It's just weird.
It's they don't need any more Italian fans. They don't give a shit about
This is
Italian
true.
fans.
They have to go expand the market. So wherever they
Yes.
want to go next, the United States, Asia, where are they going to go next? That's where you're going to
Well,
see the next player from.
they've got 4 players from England, and they're not getting apparently enough market share in
Yeah,
England.
they
So
got a
we
little bit
might
of
see
the
another
U.S.
one coming
market.
in.
They got the English market. And they tried to get a Brazilian, but they got a Brazilian that even Brazilians don't like, so that didn't work. And
Yeah,
then, so maybe they'll go back to Brazil. Who knows? I don't know what they're gonna do.
I think you need a little more South American flair. I'm not seeing it here.
And
I'm
Jimenez
looking at
was
these
born in
flags.
is Argentinian. He played from Mexico, but technically Jimenez was
Mm,
Argentinian.
yeah, I'm not seeing it here. I'm not seeing enough flair.
No. All right, let's wrap this thing up. Everybody, thanks for
Yeah.
watching, and as always, Forza Calcio. Ciao.
Ciao.